week 3 of our classroom series. Today we're going to talk about our one high variations. So last week we got into recognizing the shells. Today we'll get into the one high coverage variations, some cover 1 and some cover 3. See a lot of similarities between them. We're going to talk about what are the indicators of our man and zone coverage. How do we tell the difference pre-snap between cover 1 and cover 3? Then we'll go through some of the responsibilities, take a look at some NFL film, some high school film, because there will be a lot of variation between what you can see. You know, on Sunday, those guys can do it at the highest level. Those players can move across the entire field. A lot more variations of what they're doing as opposed to what you may see, you know, at the high school and college level. So get a screen share here. We'll jump right into it. All right, should be able to see our classroom number 3 here, one high variations. Click over on our PowerPoint slide and get through it. So we talked through the field zones. Again, we should be comfortable with those and be able to recognize where the defender and the safety are going to line up to give us some indicators of whether or not it's going to be a one high look or a two high look. Last week, we covered our zones, our zone man and hybrid coverages, a little description of each one. Today, we're going to be dealing primarily with cover 3 zone, right? And then the man coverage variations of cover 1, okay? So we talked a little bit about the differences. Remember that, you know, the zone coverage is based on rules and responsibilities of field zones. All right, minimal changes based on formation and motion, and there's always deep help, okay? The difference of the man is now those rules and responsibilities are based primarily on the opponent's personnel and their alignment. So you see a lot of changes based on personnel and alignment. We'll look at some condensed formations today as well and how that affects these teams that want to play cover 1. All right, quick diagram here. This is a 20 personnel look of a one high defense. Cover 3, we're going to say, because of the alignment. You'll see the safety in the middle of the field. Notice the corners are playing outside leverage. When we talk leverage, we're talking about where is that corner compared to the receiver that he's aligned up on. All right, so if he's outside shoulder of this X receiver, we call that outside leverage. All right, you see that on both sides here. The Z and the X are both getting outside leverage. The outside linebacker here is playing outside shoulder of the Y. Again, so he can look inside. This outside linebacker in cover 3 is the force player, meaning that he has to come up, and his job is to force everything back inside. Nobody gets outside of him. We don't want to call it contain. It's not like, you know, youth football, they talk about contain a lot. They really emphasize force because he's going to collision with his inside shoulder, keep the outside hand free, and really try to make everything work back into this buck linebacker. All right, same thing for the will. That's why the corners now in cover 3, they have no run responsibility. They're secondary and late run support, same as the free safety. Okay, free safety's got to be a good tackler because he's the only guy here if anything gets through. So one thing you'll notice at high school, we started to see this in the last few years. Teams are getting smart about cover 3 at high school because the hashes are so wide. They don't play cover 3 alignment outside all the time like this. If you notice, when we get to the film, you'll see how wide that field side receiver is. So teams have started to say, well, we know that most high school guys have to throw in-breaking routes here. So there's no point in lining that field corner up outside because almost all the routes and the targets that outside receiver is going to get, that Z, are going to be on in-breaks. So instead, they've started to shift these guys inside leverage, even though it's cover 3, and try to force the offense to throw the low percentage throw over the top. Again, making that a long throw. Remember, we talked about the longer that ball's in the air, the lower the completion percentage. That's true at every level. So you see the zones and responsibilities here. You got 8 defenders in the box because it's a 20 personnel set by the offense. We attack the seams here. We attack the flats. Anytime we see cover 3, we'll talk about, you know, the gift and just taking what they give you. This is called free release to the flat. But again, indicators are we're on a shoulder. Eyes will be inside for the corners. Safety is going to play the formation a lot of times. Some teams will play the field. Most good teams are going to kind of play the formation, meaning the hill line based on where the ball and the center are. And then the outside backers are not going to play head up. They're not going to be looking inside. They're not going to be looking at the receiver. They'll be looking for an indicator a lot of times, either near back or end man on the line of scrimmage, trying to determine run pass right away based on what the offensive tackle does or the tight end if there's a tight end on the line. So our indicators are zone coverage. We go back through, we're going to talk about their alignment. A lot of times they're going to have eyes inside because they're going to read run first if they can off either the quarterback, the near back, the tackle, the tight end. Teams will vary based on which player it is and what they do with their system. But when you see zone, we're going to notice based on their alignment that it's zone coverage. Okay, get down to a little shot here. You see the safety rolled down here to the bottom side. This is a 11 personnel set. Some teams will call it 20 because this guy's not on the line of scrimmage, but that's a true tight end for us. So you get 3-by-1. Notice the backside corner is kind of head up to inside shoulder to the field side here because the ball's more in the middle. We're on NFL hashes in this clip. The field corner has eyes inside. You see the head turn. You can see outside leverage from the backer. He's kind of working inside and then back to this slot receiver. Free safety in the middle of the field. But notice a cushion. They're playing 6-7 yards off the ball. This is another indicator. The depth of those players on defense will help you decide whether or not it's man or zone. So 3 things we'll talk about are D, E, and A are going to be the depth of the defender, the eyes of the defender, and the alignment of the defender. Those are our 3 main indicators we want to look at when trying to decipher zone or man. Okay, another variation of it. You see, we used this clip last week, but pretty clear indicators here. If you look to the corner on the top side, his body is turned inside. That tells you that he is concerned about what's going to happen inside here. He's got some sort of responsibility. He wants to get a read on what's going on. If he's playing man-to-man, most of the time they're playing man-to-man. They have very little run help, if any, on the outside as corners. So they're going to get up in the face. They'll play some press. They may play off man, but they're going to be dialed in on what that receiver's release is, try to get some indicators themselves of where that receiver's trying to go pre-snap based on his split and alignment too. So we see eyes locked on a offensive player. We are thinking man-to-man. We see eyes inside like this with the depth at 7 yards, right? Alignment outside shoulder. All 3 indicators are telling us zone coverage. All right, move ahead here. We call this nickel 1. It's a little bit different alignment, but you kind of notice based on we get the nickel into the game. The other safety rolls down, so the personnel slightly different on defense. It's a 4-2. You'll see the alignment of the corners changes. It's a condensed set here. Now you can see, even though we're off a little bit as the corners, okay, this is a little bit tougher to decipher because we're in a condensed set, so it changes where the defense has to align. Okay, this linebacker can't line himself up outside of that number 1 receiver, even if he's told to be 4 yards outside or off of this slot or tight end, right? So if he's taught to be 4-by-4, well, that changes now when this condensed set comes in. Otherwise, they're going to have 2 offensive players in the same gap, and it's going to be easy for them to get to the edge and create a crease there. Okay, another alignment here. You see cover 1. Okay, much better indicators here. You can see both corners are lined up, eyes on the number 1 receiver. You get a safety rolled down over number 2, and then this backer is widened so he can play outside shoulder of number 3, play him man-to-man if he releases. You got 1 linebacker true in the box here, lined up over the tailback, and then the bottom side, true man-to-man alignment. He's pressed at the line. Eyes are on the receiver. Safety, you can see, like I said, he's not just sitting in the middle of the field. He's going to play the formation and the ball. All right, 1 robber, just another variation we'll see today. All cover 1 alignment. You see inside leverage, inside leverage, inside leverage, and then you get the safety. Instead of rolling down to the curl area, now they're going to roll a safety down and rob the middle of the field. So you get this against a lot of teams that have a dominant tight end or like to run crossing routes, drag routes, something where they're going to move that guy across the field. Kansas City sees a lot of this because they do so much with Travis Kelce. See a little bit of that today. That we're going to call it robber, or you might hear referred to as rat, where that safety is going to roll to the middle of the field and he has free range. So you really have 2 free players. You got a free safety deep playing cover 1 who's free to go anywhere, and then you got this robber rolling down either middle of the field or curl. Can vary based on what they're trying to accomplish. A little screenshot of it here. You see all of a sudden this safety starts to roll down, and it just doesn't look right. The alignment's off. Something's not right there. They wouldn't play 2 high safeties there. So this guy clearly is coming down. A lot of times you're going to get linebackers either walling off or you get some sort of pressure because they know they got a free hitter here in the middle of the field to help out. All right, we'll change over to our film now. We're going to watch a little bit of film from the Tampa Bay and Kansas City game from earlier in the year. It's not the Super Bowl film. We're going to watch the first drives of the first game of their season here. Share this in a second. Okay. Got this big enough now. Okay. All right. As we go through this, you'll get a key off of each alignment here. You're going to see some cover 3 and cover 1 looks. Okay. First play of the game, they come out. You're going to get some motion. Again, a condensed set. Notice the corner to the top side of the field. He's off, a good 7 yards off the ball, outside leverage, safety in the middle. Now, this is where it gets a little tougher to decipher because you got a corner press up at the line of scrimmage. All right. Defensive personnel, you got 3 down. They play a stand up on the edge. So you may call this, you may be tempted to call it a 3-4, but it's really a 4 down look. It's just that this guy's, a stand up rusher, and they're playing a 4 down alignment in terms of they're playing an over front here, again, which we'll get to down the road a little bit. All right, so you can tell when this guy motions across, now we know it's cover 3 because this corner down here doesn't follow with the number 1 receiver. So the other indicator when we motion, this is why you see so much motion in the NFL. How does the defense adjust to this motion? Do they change their alignment? Okay, the only guy that really moves is a safety. They're not bumping linebackers out. They're not running anybody across with him. That tells you that it's not going to be man coverage. Because if it's man, somebody's got to adjust and gain leverage defensively on this player who's motioning across. You see, instead, they get a little RPO run fake. The corner doesn't sink, and they attack right over top of that corner off the RPO. But all indicators here are telling us it's going to be zone coverage, easy pitch and catch, first play of the game to get over top of him, and that's what happens when the corner doesn't sink. All right, go to our next clip here. Okay, you get a cover 1 look here. Even though now they adjust, right? You got 2x2. Kansas City's in a 2x2 set. They're playing off down here at the bottom of the screen. All right, that may be based on personnel. They say it's Kelsey, right? So they may be trying to bracket or do some different things. They may also want to get him off the line because it's a run-heavy set coming to this strong side here. On the backside, pretty clear indicators that you're getting man-to-man on the backside. See what we talk about. Press at the line, eyes are locked on those receivers. Okay, so Mahomes sees, he knows what he's got. They go with another little run-pass option here. Basic slant-flat concept. Decides he wants to take the slant, has them both, just misses, but again, very clear indicators that we're going to cover 1 here. Okay, to our next one, we got a couple penalties in a row here. So we're going to move down. Okay, similar set. You get a 2x2 set from the offense, 2x2 formation, 2 receivers here, kind of bunched up. And then on the bottom side, you got 2 tight ends, 1 on the line, 1 in a wing. Okay, same sort of alignment that we just saw. Now, we're going to notice the difference here again is going to be 1 high. All right, safety working his way deep. Clear indicators of cover 3 to the top side. You got top side corner, number 24 here. All right, he's off, outside leverage, playing back a good 8 yards on this. The linebacker has walked out, but his eyes are inside, right? He's not looking at this guy. He's not on number 2. He's not on the slot. He's looking inside and read and run based on the end man on the line of scrimmage. Same sort of look we saw earlier in condensed. 23 opens up, right? He's ready to drop and bail if he gets cover 3. Watch one more time. True cover 3. Again, every indicator there tells us it's zone coverage. We want to attack flats, want to attack seams. For our next one. Okay, again, a little motion, right? Right back, motion in to see what kind of indicator we get. Well, we saw man pre-snap. We get a little short motion to bring him back in. The corner comes with him. Linebacker or safety stays on number 2. True man looks to the bottom of the field here. Again, this is as man is going to get. So you're not going to run stationary routes here versus man coverage. Notice they're going over the top, right? They're throwing it vertical. On the bottom side, the combination is going to be a combination where they're not going to stop. You're typically not going to get, just running straight curls or hitches all the time against this unless you're trying to tie down somebody You see they tie down number 2 here. He takes his little quick hitch, clear it for number 1 to run vertical. Easy pitch and catch over the top. All right, next indicator, when we get down into the red zone, most teams are going to see a lot of man-to-man down here, depending on how deep into the red zone you get. Once we clear the 10, pretty rarely you're going to get a lot of zone coverage, but you will see it as, just kind of a change up. Again, if we were to look, we see inside leverage here, but eyes, again, are inside. Depth of the corners, they're deep. They're inside leverage. Eyes are inside. To the top side, they're pressed a little bit, so you may get a change in that, this is Kelsey out here. That's a bad mismatch if they put a linebacker out there. So what they may say, you get a 3-by-1 set is, okay, we're going to play zone to the field. Now we get a little hybrid look. We're going to match up man-to-man, put our best guy over here on Kelsey, and then we get the linebacker on the running back out of the backfield. Okay, but all indicators are telling us zone to the bottom, man to the top. Now you see, turns and runs with them. It's really still kind of a cover 3 principle in that the linebacker is responsible on the top side for the flats. You see him chase the running back. He's got flats, and then he's got to carry that running back if he gets over the top. All right, last couple here. We'll go down to the Buccaneers. Your first couple series on offense. Just like I said, variations of cover 3 and cover 1. So they like to play a 2 high shell, and then you can see kind of short lead in here. 2 high shell, but you're getting man-to-man look by both corners. This safety is aligned inside leverage with number 2. All right, but you see this safety starting to creep down. There's no number 2 receiver over here. He's going to invert down. They're playing cover 1, and then he's going to decide either he picks up the running back or he goes with it. But safety rolls middle of the field. They're going to play cover 1 behind it. Okay, last one coming up here. See 3-by-1 again. Little short motion. Nothing really to affect the defense, but you're going to tight corner, press down here at the bottom. They're going to play off at the top. So everything about depth at the top is telling us cover 3. Down at the bottom is telling us cover 1. They're going to bail. You see just a little hybrid variation of where we're going to go, right? So cover 1, it's important. We got to know what our matchups are. We have to understand what our route concepts are, and there need to be either sight adjustments built into the route or some sort of conversion. A basic conversion is going to be, all right, well, if we see, if we have hitches called, we get pressed, that guy's going to take off and run a vertical. I'll show one quick variation of that. Let me see if I can find it here. It's going to be, okay, versus 1 high. You get anything with, press. Say we got hitches called here. Okay, you see clear press, man-to-man, safety, middle of the field. So rather than running, a hitch, this guy's going to convert his route, which means he's going to push vertical because we don't want to run and just stop where the defender's at. Instead, we're going to go fade, throw a little back shoulder, right? And it's very difficult for that corner to make a play on that route. Right. So kind of run it against time here, guys. Want to get you guys through. I don't want to take up too much time each week. We're going to work this on the field as well. But you see a lot of variations of what we can see against cover 1 and cover 3. Biggest thing we want to focus on this week are our 3 indicators. So we're going to talk our depth, okay, of the defender, the eyes of the defender, and the alignment. We'll go through that and how to attack it more this week. So appreciate you guys. You're working hard. Keep it up. Okay, we'll be back out on the field this week, and we'll have another classroom session coming up for the end of the week.